Okay, so we'll just start by getting in touch with the ground that's supporting us through whatever part of the body happens to be touching. And just begin to feel your breath and the response of the body with the breath. Note as you intentionally breathe where you might feel tense, where you might be holding any energy. And even in your seated posture, start to note where you might be using muscles or kind of holding yourself away from your support rather than releasing toward the support. Other adjustments that you might want to make include just checking in that your spine is long, that your hands and your jaw are relaxed. Just let your tongue either rest at the bottom of your mouth or maybe slightly touching the top of the palate. And as you breathe, see if you can let your breath expand the chest forward. And actually, if we go ahead and we take a moment to really feel what happens with the breath, you might be breathing through the belly, which is also fine. Or it might be more of a chest breath. You can place one hand on each of those points, belly and chest. When you exhale, see if you can feel the belly button and all of that front body tissue moving toward the spine without collapsing through the chest. And then when you inhale, see if you can let it rise up into the chest. And on the exhale, again, feel the belly moving toward the spine, but without releasing through the side ribs. So there's like this hollowing out, but your spine is still long, still tall. You're still reaching through the top of the head into the space above you. So it's as if everything from the upper ribs up are kind of suspended in air, and everything below those upper ribs are just shrinking with the breath, exhale, and then expanding with the inhale. So resting your hands now on your lap, we're going to let one ear just drop rather than push it towards the ear. Just let it drop that direction. Just notice when you start to feel it. And instead of like crunching down, think of still elongating through the neck, reaching with the crown of the head out into the space above the head. So there's still length in the neck. And take a deep breath or 2 or 3 here, and see if you can send the air into the opposite side. Especially notice when you exhale how that feels like that stretch side feels like it might be getting a little longer. And if the ear or the ear wants to drop a little more towards the shoulder, you can encourage that. And then on the exhalation, just bring yourself back to center. And then we'll go the other way, so dropping the ear, keeping the length through the neck. And then sending the breath into this lengthened side. Noticing on the exhale, letting the shoulder drop away. More space is created. And after another breath, when you inhale, you can bring the head back up to center. And I want you to find a point somewhere in front of you that you can look directly at. And just keep your focus there. But you're going to turn the head to the right, but your eyes will stay on whatever point you chose. So you might not be able to turn your head as far as you normally would. And then the other direction, so back to center, and then the other way, still focusing on that soul point. Just notice if the eyes feel tense or tight. And then go back and forth a couple more times with that. Continuing to breathe. Coming back to center when you're ready. Take your time. And you can rest with your eyes closed a moment, just to rest them. And then what we're going to do is we're going to just turn the eyes to look to the right. So take the eyes to the corner, the head will stay forward. And try to take them right out to the side as opposed to up in the corner or the lower part of the body, just straight out to the side. If you're not sure, you can hold your finger out there and then try to bring your eyes to your finger. It helps to have that anchor. And then back to center, and then again drawing the eyes to the side. And back. And then to the other side as well. Just notice if there's any like jittering or shaking or lack of smooth motion, any jerkiness. Okay, back to center. We're going to look straight up, so bring your eyes as far up as you can. They even might go a little bit towards the forehead point. And then look directly down the nose. And then move between those 2 points again. Just notice if there's any judderiness, jerking, and see if you can smooth out the motion of the eyes. Might even seem like you're going in steps instead of a smooth line. Just notice. And then bringing the eyes back to center. So we're going to start by looking up, and then we're going to go in a circle. So all the way to the left, and then all the way to the right. So we'll start by looking up and going right. And again, you're looking to be smooth through the actions as much as you can, just noticing if it's sticky, if there are places where it's easier than others. So you can make a few circles in one direction and then go the other direction. And then close your eyes. Just rest them. Take a deep breath. We'll bring the shoulders up to the ears. Hold them there, squeeze, and release. Let's do that a couple of times. Try to relax the arms so there's nothing being held through the arms or hands. Everything's in the shoulders. So there's a little bit of tension in your elbows. And see if you can just work with the shoulders and let your elbows be soft. And release. And last time, squeezing up. And release. Okay. Let's breathe in and take the arms overhead. And then when you exhale, just reach to one side, let your arm come and support you on the ground so you can put a little weight on your hand. The other arm stays extended. Breathe into that long side of the body. You can look down at your arm if that's more comfortable than looking ahead. We're going to slowly release the extended arm with the exhale. So exhale and let that arm drop slowly to the side. But stay with the head and stay in the side bend. And then come back up to neutral. Okay, just feel the effects of that on that side of the body. And then we'll go to the other side, breathing in with the arms overhead. One arm comes down to the ground to support you as you lean to that side. Good. Try not to collapse the chest and round, but open the chest and open the shoulder blades kind of come together in the back. So if the arm's not as high, that's okay. Breathe into that long side. And then on the next exhale, you're going to release that arm slowly, keeping yourself in a side bend, just the arm goes back. And feel each little movement, how that sensation changes. Good. Take your time, no hurry. We'll all meet upright. Take a deep breath when you arrive back in center. And notice whatever sensations you felt through that. Now we're going to do a little bit of a side twist. So take your left hand to the outside of your right knee. Your other hand can look behind your back if that's comfortable. I have the back of my hand against my back. And then just begin to allow the spine from the mid-waist to turn. Keeping long through the body, nice and tall. Just hold and breathe. As you soften, if you want to add the head by turning towards the back. Another inhale. And on the exhale, slowly come back to the front. And release the hands. And then going the other way. So first we take right hand to the left. And the back hand, back of hand to back, small of back. And then begin to turn at the middle waist. Making sure your spine is still nice and long. Reaching through the crown of the head even as you breathe. Adding the head as it softens, as if it's comfortable to look behind you. Another deep breath. And on the exhale, slowly turning back to the center. Good. Okay, so I was going to take it easy on you tonight. There's one little flow I want to do to bring some heat into the body. And then after that, we'll go a little gentler. So what I'm going to invite you to do first, if you need to stretch out your legs or anything, feel free to do whatever you need to. And then we're going to come into a child's pose. So I've been sitting on my legs a long time there, so I need to shake them out. So you can decide if you have your knees together or your knees apart to come into the child's pose. And of course you can have your bottom in the air and be on your forearms if that's more comfortable. So as you're here, just take a moment to breathe down both sides of your spine and soften the back body. Just noticing what needs to release or soften. Imagine someone pouring a comfortable, warm liquid over your back and everything just falling away from the spine with that warmth. ahead and reach your hands in front of you. In fact, let's do this. Let's come into a kind of a puppy pose. So your butt will be a little bit in the air. Try my shirt here. You're on your forearms. You're just going to reach one hand forward and let that side body stretch. So you can't see. I'm going to do the front so you can see. So I'm just reaching with one hand forward. The other forearm, I'm resting on the other forearm. So I'm getting a stretch all through this line of the arm and the side. My tailbone is moving as if towards the heels. And my arm is reaching the opposite direction. And then release and bring that arm back. And change hands. So reach forward with the other hand. If you need to do something with your head, you can just rest it on your forearm. So there's a little bit of tensional release here as the buttocks is reaching away and the arm is going in the opposite direction. So let's do that on each side one more time. So going to the first side. As you're here, try to really relax into it. You can let go a little bit. Rest your head and neck. The tailbone can still kind of put its weight towards the heels, but you don't have to push anything. You don't have to overreach with the arm. Just relax. And then bringing that arm back, going to the second side. Again, just see if you can really let the body go and just rest against the floor. And then drawing that arm back. So we'll still be on the forearm, so you can clasp your hands together if you like. Just bend your toes back. We're going to just work through the toes a little bit. So you're flattening your feet, and then just come up onto your toes and kind of shift your weight back, just to stretch out the toes a little bit. then if you can place your feet flat. And we're going to come up onto the knees. I know this is not a terribly comfortable position for some of you, so we won't be here long. What we're going to do, or what I'm going to invite you to do, I'm going to have you kind of move your hands behind you and kind of lift your knees. Now, you don't have to go very far. In fact, you might not lift them very much at all before you start to feel it in the front of your ankles. So this doesn't have to be any bigger than is comfortable for you. And what we're going to do is we're going to go from that position from here into a down dog and then back. And you can take your own speed here. We're just bringing some warmth and strength into the body. When you lean back, try to keep your back straight. And then if it's not comfortable at all, you can just come here. And if your toes are, I'm going to move on to here so you can see, if it's really uncomfortable to have your feet flat, you could come up to your toes and lean that way. So that's an option. And I really want you to try to feel the breath here. So as you lift up, maybe inhaling, exhaling down, inhaling back, opening the chest, and then exhaling forward, inhaling up, exhaling down, inhaling back. Really big breaths, each movement. And again, you can go slower or faster or hold anything that you like. That enough? Okay, I think we're good. So just go ahead and finish your last little bits of that, and then we're going to come on to our bellies. So we'll have the elbows right under the shoulders. You can have your forearms down on the ground, your hands flat, or you can clasp your hands together. Now, what I'd like you to feel is the difference between sinking through your shoulders versus standing up through your shoulders. So I want you to feel the strength from the elbow through the shoulders and the back. And if we collapse, then it becomes more uncomfortable for the shoulders, whereas if we push through and strong, it's a little easier to hold. As you do that, as you sink, I want you to notice what's happening to your lower body. So as you kind of collapse through, just note how your back feels, how the tops of your legs feel. And then as you connect through the bones, elbows to shoulder, and then shoulder to shoulder around the back, notice how the thighs can drop into the floor, the pubic bone can move towards the floor. There's a little more extension in that. A little more strength perhaps required, but it's stable, it's strong. And see if you can bring the belly button in towards the spine, just a little. And feel the strength of the belly. And release. We're going to bring the head down towards the chest. And then up. And again down towards the chest. And up. And one more time down towards the chest. And then let's release the arms, come all the way to the ground. You can rest your hands or your head on your hands, or just have your cheek on the floor. Just let the front body relax on the ground. So if you can, I'd like you to work towards turning your head to one arm. So if that's not comfortable yet, just work your way there slowly. And if it's still not comfortable, you could have your forehead on the ground and do this next bit too. So what we're going to do is we're going to reach with the arm that you're looking away from. So the back arm is going to reach out in front of you. And just let that arm, that hand, ground into the ground and push your body a little bit. Just let yourself rock away from that arm. And notice how that might affect the other arm. What happens, I notice, is I press into the ground with my hand. My shoulder on the side I'm looking towards kind of drops downward towards my feet. My neck gets longer and opens on that side, but my side waist kind of comes together. My hip kind of lifts towards the shoulder that's moving downward. Just notice very small movements. Just explore for yourself what happens when you push away with that extended arm. And it might feel really nice just to hold somewhere. Try to keep your body heavy and release towards the ground so you're not holding yourself up anywhere other than that hand that's pushing. And wherever you find yourself, just breathe with either the stillness or the movement. And you can release that whenever you want. Just let that hand draw back towards the body. And find yourself again in a neutral spot. We're going to go to the other side, and for you, all you have to do is turn your head to look the other way. I'm going to turn around so I'm still facing the camera. And take a moment just to settle with your head turned in the other direction. And again, if you need to be on your forehead, that's fine. When you feel ready, you can extend the back arm out in front of you. And then just ground into the ground with that hand and press. And just notice what happens. Might feel very different on this side. You can release completely in between the little pulses. And try to notice the places that you might be kind of holding yourself away from the floor. And see if you can just release to the ground with the weight of your body. The only thing that's really working is that hand pushing into the ground. Everything else is just rolling with that motion from the hand. When you felt complete on that side, just draw the arm back towards the body and rest in a neutral position. And just notice what you feel along each side of the body. With each breath, just letting the body be heavier and heavier. Now, just adjusting your hands, your arms so they're comfortable. We're going to bring one heel in, flexing the foot, bringing the heel in towards the buttocks. Just give a little squeeze and then release. And repeat that a few times. Notice what happens for you to lift that leg, what has to push into the ground. Can you feel that thigh kind of drawing towards the ground as you lift? And then note, is there any tilting of the pelvis as you come closer to the buttocks? When you release, release all the way before repeating the action. And then on the next few times that you bring your heel in, hold there and see if you can lift your knee off the ground just a little bit, or maybe it's just a slight push downward. And release each time. Just repeat that lift maybe 2 or 3 times. It might just feel as though that knee is just moving downward. The other hip might lift a little bit towards the opposite side shoulder. And then just rest with the legs long. If there's any contraction in your the back of your thigh or hamstring, just give it a moment to release. And then you guys just turn your heads to do the other side, and I'm going to turn around. Okay. So just bringing the heel in towards the buttocks, squeeze, just, you don't have to squeeze tight, it's just drawing in and then release. Drawing in as far as you can without it being too tight. Keeping that foot flexed. And then at some point, as you bring the heel in, just holding it there, and then reaching away from the body with that knee, as if you were going to lift that knee off the ground, noticing what happens to the other side of the body, just letting whatever happen, happen. Releasing and then going again. After you've done that 2 or 3 times, you can just rest for a moment. Go ahead and separate your legs about as wide as the mat. And then again, just drawing your heels in towards your buttocks. You're just going to let them kind of float up there in the air. You can circle your ankles and point and flex your feet if that feels good. And then let's bring the hands in to right under the shoulders. And try to let everything be kind of loose, even as I'm going to ask you to come up into a little bit of a back bend. You don't have to come up as far as is comfortable. Try to keep your elbows nice and tucked in towards your body. And you can just come up a couple inches, or if you want, you can come up into what would be like a cobra or upward dog. Yeah. And so we just, wherever you are, we just want to let the pubic bone kind of move towards the ground. We want the rib cage, especially the lower ribs, to kind of support the body as we reach up. And release. You can come back up again if you like. Take a little break. You can rest your feet. So if you have it in you and you want to come up again, just start by bringing the heels in, just let the legs float. Bring the hands right under the shoulders. Tuck your elbows in towards your body. And then lift using the strength of the arms. If this is really comfortable for you and you want to add a little bit of a side bend looking back at your heels, you can. And really feel like through that psoas area in the front of the belly. Nice lifting without overdoing it. And release. So let's now turn onto our backs. Just note as you get comfortable, just any sensations through the front of the body. Maybe it feels long, maybe it feels relaxed or softer. And then let's draw the knees into the chest just to give a little counter movement for our back body. If you want to rock a little bit side to side, feel free, or you can just be still. And in a tight little ball, you can bring your head into your knees if you want. See as you just hold this position, if you can allow your whole spine to rest on the floor. Sometimes the tailbone wants to come up, and in fact, the very bottom of the tailbone most likely is off the floor, and that's fine. But just keep imagining more and more of the spine just releasing to the ground. As you inhale, you might feel your belly rise and push your thighs away. And you can let that happen. You can let your hands kind of release so your knees can move away from you a little bit on the inhale. And then on the exhale, just drawing the knees in tighter towards the body. We're going to keep in one knee, and we're going to extend the other leg, but keep it in the air. So it'll just go towards the bottom of the mat, that hover about a foot or so off the ground. Go ahead and flex the toes back towards the body. Try not to lock that knee, keep a little micro bend in it. And then we're going to switch. So extend the other leg, keeping the other knee in. And we're just going to go back and forth now at your own pace. As you move, just notice how one side of the body, especially through the core, lengthens and the other side shortens. On your next extension, let your extended leg drop slowly to the ground. And that final moment, let it hover and then completely release it to the floor. Holding that other knee in, one leg long. Feel that groin softening and opening in a long leg. If you would like a little more sensation or just to try, hold on to the knee with the opposite hand. Extend the same hand overhead. So you have a little bit of a cross tension through the body here. Opposite hand and leg are extended. Reach into those two directions with the extended leg and arm. everything draw back towards the center. And let's switch legs by bringing both knees up. Holding on to the knee and extending the other leg, taking it very slowly to the ground, fully extended. Letting it hover just to those last few centimeters before completely letting it go to the ground. And really focusing in on the groin and how it's releasing as you let go. And again, if you want to hold onto the knee with the opposite arm, extend the other arm overhead and reach into those opposite spaces with the leg and the arm. And then letting everything collect back towards the center. And you can release both legs now. So laying long, arms at your sides. Draw the arms in towards the sides of the body. And so you have the palms facing in. We're going to breathe and raise the arms up towards the ceiling as you inhale. When you get there, just let them rest, reaching upward. Let your shoulders connect back in towards the ground. See if you can release the tissues of the belly with the exhale back towards the ground as well. And then release the breath and release the arms back to the side. Really feel what's happening through the shoulder blades, that whole shoulder area and the back body. Release completely, and then again on another turn, breathing in and bringing the arms up on the inhale. Try to keep your shoulders and your shoulder blades connected in towards the spine. This time we're going to leave the arms in air. And you're just going to reach with one, as if picking fruit off a tree above you. Just reach with one arm, shoulder pulls away from the ground, and then release it back. And then go to the other side, so reaching away, shoulder lifts from the ground, and then let everything come back and rest. And then other side, going back and forth, reaching, releasing. Each time, completely release the shoulder back to the ground. At any time, if you like, you can start to reach with both hands at the same time, feeling the shoulder blades pull apart as you reach, and letting them come together as the arms sink back. The next time you release the arms back to the ground, just let your arms cross over your chest and flop. So your elbows are pointing upward, your arms are crossed over your chest. And then opening the arms and switching the direction, so the other one's on top. Elbows pointing upward, arms crossed over chest. We are going to move into Shavasana. If the feeling, the sensation of the arms crossed over the body is comfortable for you, you can stay there. Otherwise, just let your arms come to the ground and relax alongside your body. If you need a blanket or anything to be comfortable for our rest, feel free to grab that. Bring your awareness not only to the release now of all movement, but also to the sound of your breath. You remember that Ujjayi breath, that ocean sounding, Darth Vader sounding breath. See if you can constrict your throat just slightly so that you can really hear each inhale and exhale. If you lose the focus on the breath, just bring your mind back to the sound. Bringing some small movements back into the hands and feet. Maybe pressing different parts of your body into the ground. Feeling the counter response in the opposite sides of the body. Taking a long body stretch or anything else that helps you revive. Have you all fallen asleep? Oh, good.
No, not asleep.
Okay, let's rub the hands together. And bring them to the chest. We'll breathe in. Release the breath. And we'll tone Om Shanti. Om Shanti. 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 Oh. Thank you.